Hi, Jim Farr with you again today from Emmanuel United Methodist Church in Noblesville, and bringing you some thoughts from the far side. I've been thinking about this as I was preparing this morning for just a few moments, and one of the things I wanted to share is that a lot of people are struggling right now with what we call mental or emotional health issues, but often I find that those issues have a spiritual connection to them. I was talking about it in a small group just yesterday, and I thought what we need to think about is on our spiritual journey, how that affects our whole life. When we're not connected with God at a level we really want to be connected with God, then often things seem to just kind of unravel, don't they? And so we notice we're struggling with stress or maybe depression or loneliness or all of those things that could hit us, especially in the midst of this COVID pandemic that we're still struggling with. And so today I want to think about a time centuries ago when a man named St. John of the Cross talked about the dark night of the soul. Now, he was talking about it in a spiritual sense. And I think for some of us, in some ways, we're going through a dark night of the soul right now. We can't meet in worship in most churches. We can't be with our friends for our Christian formation or for small group, Bible study, prayer groups, all of those groups that normally sustain us and feed us emotionally and mentally, but they're really the spiritual connection, aren't they? And I think that's what we need to look for. How can we stay spiritually connected in this time of COVID? Because there's something that connects us at a deep level. I can remember doing my research for my doctorate years ago and talking about that spiritual connection that people in a church have. It's more than emotions. It's more than getting to know one another. It's more than community and fellowship and all those wonderful words. It's a spiritual connection. So today, I would like for you to be thinking about in your own journey that when you're having those dark nights of the soul, when your spirit feels crushed and you're not sure how you're going to succeed, remember that God hasn't went anywhere. That a dark night of the soul is not really God's absence. It's our perception that God isn't with us. And sometimes if we look at it as we step back, we can realize that it's the perception of God's absence that really increases our faith. Because when we think God is when we think God is absent, it even shows us more that God does exist, that God does care about us, that God does love us. And when we can't perceive that anymore, we struggle. So if you're struggling this week with the dark night of the soul, I'm praying for you, and I would like for you to think about what you might do to realize, even in the midst of the darkest night, the darkest moment of the darkest night, that God truly isn't absent, but God is just unseeable for you in that moment. And look for God in everything you do. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see God in another person. May it be so for all of us.